country, reel out a very good opening ceremony and get the action up and running. And it's been great so far. We've seen some very close scorelines. We've seen some really good performances. But from a Nigerian perspective, you'll be very disappointed because I talked about our chances. I thought that the preparations going into this tournament was really good, and you would have expected that the Super Falcons would go into that game with a lot more intensity, a lot more confidence on the ball, a lot more belief, because they have the better players by a country mile. But in the end, the factor of a more cohesive, a more united team, made way for the South African team, because I thought they played with a lot of zest, a lot of gusto and belief, and the youthfulness in their side came to play as well, because they were, their use of the ball was good, their energy going forward was good, and in the end, you would want to be honest and say the better side won.
Better side won the game. I saw a couple of stats across many platforms that. For example, you mentioned the gusto which they play with, the youthfulness in the side. Talk to me about this conversation about the tired legs in the Super Falcons team. I have to say that all the stick Onomebe has been getting, I think she redeemed herself with getting the assist for the consolation goal. But I mean, we've got to fix that area of the pitch, right? We've got pace off front on the wings. We've got pace, but the heart of the team is centre defence. The midfield is not quite as mobile as you would like, and you come up against some more, very athletic, strikers in the next couple of games now.
The issue with, having defenders, central defenders, who aren't quite so pacey is the fact that you've got to tweak the way you play, and I don't think we did that. If you're playing with centre backs who are not that quick off the ground, what you want to do is drop deep a little more as a defensive unit. But as a team like Nigeria, who we believe that we should be dominating games, and in dominating games, it would mean that your defenders will have to push up a little bit, and that's something that we did every time we had possession. We pushed up the defensive line, and I think it played into the hands of the South Africans, because you could see Tembi Gatlana running behind our defense a couple of times, and she is rapid. She is really quick, and not just her, a few of the other front players in the Bayana squad were very, very problematic to Onomebe and Osinachi Ohale. I think they just didn't have, that, coming foot forward in terms of just knowing when to drop deep, when to stick or to twist, and that was a big problem. Or maybe I thought she played reasonably well a few times where she was called into question. I thought she did really well. The goal on your picture now is where people are really, really having a go at her.
Look, I have to say that the first goal is the goal I have a real problem with, because Plumtier does the nice job to keep the player away from the goal. Doesn't keep the player goal side, so she does her own job, right? The next pass that comes in should be tracked by somebody. Yeah, that's the problem with the goal.
Which the person in that position was on Omebi, because she had to anticipate, and that's what defending does. It's not just about being able to clear your lines. It's about to anticipate danger, anticipate that. Where is this ball going to go? Where is and clearly, like you said, Plumtree had her hands full with the defender, and she managed to be able, even though the defender twisted inside of her, she managed to just push the defender, the attacking player, in a position
which naturally should buy more time for the centre back.
Should buy more time for the centre back, and Onomebe has got to be switched on. She's got to be 100% alert that ball could be going in that direction. She's got to be picking up the girl who scored the goal, and it's always about just anticipating, and I don't think she did that, and you could see she was caught ball watching. She was just standing there, but great turn by the South African number 9, great skill there to be able to go inside Plumtree, but Plumtree still held her own there. But great finish from, the touch was good. The pass wasn't really a good one, but she managed to bring it down, and the coach, Desiree Ellis, on her knees, quite excited about that one.
You can see what it means to the South Africans to get a goal. Actually got a quick fire goal in the 61st and the 63rd minute. So a bit of a collapse for the Super Falcons there. And if you're just joining...
for a team as experienced as the Super Falcons, you would say that they were very naive conceding the second goal in quick succession. And that's very poor, because the South Africans were still excited. You know, they still had the ball in possession, still trying to play out. And obviously, they could see that the Super Falcons were rattled. They could see that we looked very nervous after conceding the first goal. And what you want to do as a coach is keep possession. You're the more experienced side, you're the better side. Keep possession, give the ball, but we gave the ball away quickly, and they took advantage. And the second goal, I have to say, was a very beautifully well-worked goal.
Speaking of beautiful, not so beautiful for the Super Falcons, because if you're just joining us, the brief is that the Super Falcons' opening game against South Africa ended in a 2-1 loss to the Bayanas. And you have to say, the ladies, look, Botswana now top of the table. They got their first win. South Africa, of course, in second place off the back of that win against us. But look, there are 2 games to go here. We can surely still qualify from the group, right?
Of course. But I think it's nails on for the Super Falcons. They've got to beat Botswana. They've got to beat Burundi, and these are teams that they can beat. And these are teams I think they will beat, because there's far too much experience. There's far too much quality. And just going back to the South Africa game again, I think there are a few things that Coach Randy Waldrum would want to do a lot better in terms of personnel. You could see when Uchenna Kano came on and Francisca Odega, which I was very surprised didn't start from the off, because she is intensity. She is energy in the final third. Right. She works really hard. You know, works defenders. Her pace, her skill is something that we would have used yesterday against the South African, because she came on and the game, you know, had a lot more. We had a lot more penetration in terms of the movement up front. The passing level was a lot better. Aziza Deshwala didn't come to the party. This was one of our better players on the day, Rashida Ajibade. I thought she played really well. She had good close control in midfield. Her passes left a lot to be desired a few times, but it's not doom and gloom. It's a performance that, you know, we can learn from, and in the second game we can build and from there, and let's see how we go on to do in the next couple of games, because in the end the target is still to go to the World Cup.
I mean, people always tell you that you've got to win your first game in the tournament, right? But in the event that doesn't happen, I always say you're better off losing the first game and recovering for the next game.
Spain lost their opening game at the World Cup in 2010 and ended up winning the tournament. And something you could allude to that, because sometimes, particularly when you're the favorite in the tournament, and we've come in with that tag as defending champions, everyone looks up to you to, you know, go start the tournament in the flyer, and we didn't do that. And I think I totally agree. We can learn from here and build the tournament going forward.
So, first game, lost 2 games to go in the group stage. You can recover from there. I mean, is that, in many ways, sort of the wake-up call, you know, Nigeria needed? Because you want to win the games when it matters the most, right?
Of course.
Of course, the group stages are important, but you can afford a slip up here and there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think you can afford an opening day, even though, you know, ego-wise, it will hurt that the South Africans are beating us again. They beat us we talked about it the last time out. They beat us in Lagos last year. They're beating us again in the main tournament, and that will hurt. And you're hoping that as a coach, Randy Waldrum will be hoping that will be the kick on the backside the girls needed to go out and perform better in the games to come.
Great stuff there as far as the insights from the Super Falcons opening game defeat to the Bayana of South Africa. There's been an interesting conversation about the incentive given to them by the South African government. We never know how those things go to push players, but we'll take a first break then. When we come back, however, we'll touch base with a top African football player who signed a new deal at Liverpool.
Over time, sportsmen and women from the African continent and of African descent have bestowed the global stage with their tremendous sporting abilities and produced some iconic performances.
These legends from different spheres of sporting endeavor have graced the theaters of sports drama with their skill and athleticism, inspiring generations with their heroic feats and phenomenal prowess on the field of play.
Their stories need to be told. Indeed, their stories must be told to highlight the import and impact of Black and African athletes' outstanding sporting heritage.
Afro Sports Now will celebrate African sporting achievements by telling these stories of superlative performances and inspiring moments that has transcended generations from the past to the present.
It is time to honor the heroes of Black and African sport by giving them a platform to showcase their exceptional talent as they continue to exceed expectation and excel. That is why we are here, and that's what we will do. Afro Sport Now, our sport, our heritage, our story.
It is time.
It is time.
It is time.
For too long, the world has viewed us through other people's lenses.
But now, it's Africa's time to tell our own success stories in sports to the rest of the world, the way only we can.
Afro Sport. It's time to celebrate Black excellence in sports non-stop.
Welcome back to Fans Connect here at Afro Sports, and we're delighted to have you join us on a nice Tuesday afternoon because we've got a story which is linked to Wednesday. Let's start off with the Barcelona new arrival in Franck Kessié, who's just been announced by the club. I mean, it's probably the worst kept secret in the world that he was always on a move to the Camp Nou. But tell me why this is an important signing, Ini, and speak to me about just how important it was to get the deal over.
Stability-wise, in that central midfield position, Barcelona needed someone who could come in and stabilize things, and you have to say he's a really big signing for them because of what he brings to the table, his energy in midfield, his ability to retain possession, and he's got legs to maraud up and down the pitch, and I think it's a really, really good signing for them. And when you consider the fact that from Frankie de Jong might be out of the door at the end of the transfer window, you'd think that this is a very important signing for Barcelona.
Every time an African player moves to a top club, you'd expect the eyeballs and, of course, lots of following. Speak to me about the comparisons with Yaya Toure. Of course, he shares the same nationality with Yaya Toure, who had a great time at Barcelona. Won, I think, 2 Champions League titles while there. Of course, eventually left to greener pastures at Man City. The rest is history. But the concern here, especially from those closer to home, say, look, if Yaya Toure couldn't nail down a real place because he was quite the marauding type of midfielder, they want to play more short passes, sideways, give and goes. What makes him so confident that he'll be a success? Have you seen anything in Xavi's system that suggests that he could be more suited to the role?
It's a different era, I have to say. Yeah, Toure played in an era where they had Andres Iniesta and the coach Xavi in the side. I think it's a different era, and Barcelona clearly, even though with this culture of passing the ball around, need a lot more stability, a lot more force in midfield, and that's why they've gone for him. And I think he nails his shirts there because of how good he is on the ball and off the ball as well, because with the Barcelona players, the system is always about how good you are on the ball, but what you do off the ball is not that important. But I don't think it works anymore, and you need someone who off the ball is ready to put the hard graft in and work really hard, and I think Franck Kessié ticks all the boxes.
So 6 goals in 59 appearances for the national team. Look, 45 in 6 seasons for AC Milan. It's a good number for a midfield player. He's just won the title, the Scudetto, with AC Milan. So another question is, why is he why was he desperate to leave AC Milan? Because look, the deal was more or less an all clear as early as March. AC Milan win the title, say in May, on the final day, right? So, I mean, why hasn't his mind changed in that period of time? Look, I could be a real winner here. I could stabilize here. I could really build something of a cult following here. Is there anything there that suggests, he wanted to leave Milan badly?
I think it would have to do with finances. I would think that Barcelona offering him a lot more money, and we've seen that with AC Milan over the past few years, where they've sold one of their better players because they didn't want to budge to the salary, the money they were demanding. We saw that with Donnarumma. We saw that with Hakan Çalhanoğlu. We've seen that now with Franck Kessié, that they are not going to splash the cash. They are not going to break their wage structure to fit in any player's narrative. So I just think it was about the money and the lure of playing in another league, in another challenge. So when you leave AC Milan to Barcelona, is it necessarily a step up or a step in the right direction? You would think so. Barcelona, a big club, one of the biggest clubs in world football, and just having them in your CV, it's great for a player.
Well, great stuff for Franck Kessié. Let's move on to another African superstar who has just signed a new extension with Liverpool in Mo Salah. Off the back of losing Sadio Mane, who has been a great servant to the club Liverpool, Mo Salah has tied down the best of his latter years to Liverpool. The contract he's extended, a new contract would see him leave at 33 years of age. So pretty much his best years, 4-year contract. We hear 3-year deal, I beg your pardon, which makes him the highest paid player at Liverpool. They've broken pretty much their wage structure to accommodate and make this thing happen. Does that go to re-emphasize the importance placed on him over a player like Sadio Mane? Was he always the most important player to the project in the past and even going forward?
For Mo Salah scores all the goals for Liverpool, and only last season did Mane really come into his own and become the key player in the big game. But Mo Salah has always been the guy with the numbers, and by contrary, you would see the best player at Liverpool, and you don't want to lose your best players, more so when you've lost Sadio Mane in the same window. It was very important to keep Mo Salah, and they've done everything they could, like you said, broken the wage structure to keep him to stay, because he won't lack for suitors, that is for sure. If you were to say, okay, you're not offering him a new deal, I'm very sure that Real Madrid would have been on the door, even Bayern Munich would have been interested, Juventus, he wouldn't lack for suitors. And it's great to always get that last big contract before you get to that stage where you begin to wane a little bit, and it's important that you get the big bucks. We call it retirement money.
Yeah, right. Retirement money. Certainly, everybody needs to do that, right? Everybody does, right? At the moment, we're hearing he's the 4th highest paid player in the Premier League. Depending on the performance bonuses, might as well rise into a higher echelon of earners. So, look, according to multiple sources, this is what Mo Salah has done, of course, for his career at Liverpool. As far as assists go, he's pretty much, he gives as good as he gets. Yeah. So, scores a lot of goals, but people don't talk about the number of assists he also produces for Liverpool. So, you've got to say, good investment to lead the new generation forward. You think about the players they brought in now, Luis Diaz. They brought in the kid from Benfica as well. Looks a really new face of the team. But to have that continuity factor, the one who says, look, this is how it's done here, and this is how we've won this many trophies, he was important to tie down here.
Yeah, very important, because he is an important factor to how they play in terms of, in an offensive area. He leads the line really well, even though he plays wider on the right, and he's tearing down defenses. And like you said, it's important because you've got Luis Diaz, who came in January, had a flourishing first 5 months at the club. You've got Darwin Núñez coming, and obviously he will need to be around for the likes of Darwin Núñez to learn a thing or two.
Well, speaking of which, that's the picture of what the highest earners in world football, if you ever wonder what the players earn. Well, Kylian Mbappe, no surprises there, topping the list with PSG, who've just announced that they've let their manager Pochettino go. Lionel Messi, no surprises there, he's been earning quite the buck for some time. Neymar, Mo Salah, who now pips the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Cristiano Ronaldo, Erling Haaland, David De Gea, Antoine Griezmann, and the want-away striker Lewandowski at Bayern Munich. So a great company to be in, not just from a goals and an assist point of view, but also from a financial standpoint. What about the assists? 63 for Liverpool, 156 goals in 254 matches. He spent, 6 years at Liverpool. Great stuff for the Egyptian Pharaoh. So all the best to Mo Salah, and especially Liverpool fans who have been waiting to see that deal done. Right then, we've got two people waiting on the Skype call for us. Let's start off with Benjamin, who's been waiting for quite some time. Benjamin, hello and welcome to Fans Connect on Afro Sports.
Hello, yeah, Yubi, welcome. Thank you so much.
Great to have you, Benjamin. You've been keeping with the conversation, I imagine. Talk to me about the Liverpool deal, or would you rather speak about the Super Falcons?
I'd rather speak about the Super Falcons.
Go for it.
Yeah, because the Super Falcons, that game, yes, there's a lot that was first from the defense of Onomedi, which are slow pace, is actually showing his home, and age is falling on our side. And if you could see that the center of the position here, if someone who's fast and keep track of the ball, you can go forward.
I think we're struggling to hear Benjamin there. Benjamin, how about you try call us back on a wet Tuesday? You can imagine all the network issues. Right then. So look, try call us back. We'd love to hear that thoughts from you. Look, couldn't be Benjamin, but you're loud and clear here in the studio. So we've spoken about Sadio Mane, Mo Salah actually. Of course, we've touched base in the first part of the show with the Super Falcons. But just to wrap up on Mo Salah at Liverpool, what is the expectation now? Look, won a Premier League title, won a Champions League, didn't quite win the AFCON last year. What would be, if you were Mo Salah, what would be your expectations to go again, chase Man City, which has been a real chase in the last 5 years? When do you get tired of that if you don't win this year?
I don't think you ever get tired, and that's what makes big clubs different from the relatively smaller clubs, because you have to keep chasing, because that's the goal. I mean, every season you want to go after the Premier League title, because it's realistic. Man City can't win it 10 years on the bounce. You know, they're that good, but they can't win it 10 years on the bounce. They can't win it 10 years on the bounce.
They've done 4 in 5 now?
Yeah, they've done 4 in 5. Even the great Man United teams weren't winning 10 years on the bounce. So you know that you've got to keep going. And they are the standard. So you look at them and say, how do we pull them down? How do we break that dominance on the Premier League? And clearly, the Liverpool will be having same targets this season: Premier League, Champions League.
Well, until we have another caller on the line, Samuel, how are you? Trust you've been doing well. Speak to us about Mo Salah, or would you rather speak to us about Super Falcons? Struggling to hear Samuel there. Samuel, can you hear me? Well, Samuel can hear me, but I cannot quite hear him. Samuel, how about you? Look, a bit of a technical problem there. Happens all the time, man and machine. But we'll fix that and hopefully get in touch with some of the callers who want to speak to us so badly. Right, just going to wrap up on that. Are they in a better place now, Liverpool, this season? Are they stronger this season, going into the new season, than they were last year?
I don't think so. I think they're still at the same level, even though they brought in an out-and-out striker in Darwin Núñez. You just think that he would score more goals. But when you lose a player like Sadio Mane, I think it takes something out of your team, because he wasn't just a goal scorer, he's a propeller in the team. You know, the energy to press, the incredible ability in scoring goals in big occasions. I just feel that the loss of Sadio Mane has taken something a wee bit out from that Liverpool team. Even though Darwin Núñez will score goals, I think he will score goals in the Premier League. Just that, I don't think the level of intensity that Mane used to bring, I don't think Darwin Núñez can do that.
Right then. So we've touched base on the transfer window, which is getting into its most critical stage. The clubs are back in pre-season. Talk about Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, who've also got a deal. We'll take another break on the show. When we come back, however, we'll touch base with Gabriel Jesus, who's been on the way quite some time and eventually landed at the Emirates. Welcome back to Fans Connect, the final part of the show, and we're on the home run, that's for sure. About Monday hasn't gone anywhere. It's still here to take us through the last, 2-3 minutes of the show. It's been a great ride so far, without a doubt. Talk to me about Gabriel Jesus at Manchester City. £45 million is the reported figure. He scored, 95 goals in 223 appearances for City, assisting 46. So that's a quality player right there.
Yeah.
Hasn't been given the prominent role of a centre forward, which is what Arsenal have brought him in to do. Can he shoulder the load of the goal scoring burden?
One thing I'm certain about this, he will be the key holder to whether Arteta stays at Arsenal beyond next season, or he stays or he gets fired. Because I think if he scores a lot of goals and Arsenal are able to meet their targets in terms of getting to the Champions League, he probably would keep Arteta in the job, because Arsenal needs goals. The reason Arsenal have gone and splashed the cash for him is because they feel that they didn't score enough goals last season, and he's come in there and he's got to score goals. He wants to play through the middle. He wants to be the main man. Let's see what he brings.
Goals, what Arsenal are looking for. Let's have Samuel now, who's been trying to reconnect to us, and we are glad to hear from him. Samuel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great stuff, Samuel. We've got 30 seconds for you to talk to us about Gabriel Jesus. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, I feel it's a very good catch for Arsenal. I think he's definitely going to be a good addition, a huge bargain for Mikel Arteta. I think it's an easy to really have such mass player at Arsenal. Imagine him leaving Man City. So I know is looking beyond him right now, especially having brought in Haaland. But again, I think it's a big catch for Arsenal. I think he's definitely had a lot of quality and also improve fortune of the team going forward, especially having them challenge the top 4 places.
Fantastic. Great stuff, Samuel. We had to squeeze you in, so thanks for reaching out to Fans Connect. Appreciate it always.
My pleasure.
Great stuff, Ini. I have to say a very big thank you to you as well for making it through. We'll see you next week on Friday, actually. We've still got the African Women's Championship live here on the channel, so how about you stick around for that? We've gone through one game with the Super Falcons. How about you catch the remainder of the 3 games, and hopefully we'll qualify into the latter stages. My name is Yubi, and so have a fantastic afternoon. We'll see you soon.